while being first in your consumer's mind needs to be your primary marketing objective. But in case you fail in this endeavor, the battle is not lost. You just need different strategy if you're number 2 or number 3 in your category for your consumer. Welcome to episode 7 of the Laws of the Marketing series. I am Neha, your friendly brand troublemaker, and today we're discussing the law of ladder, which states that the strategy you build for your brand depends upon which rung on the competitive ladder your product is. For each category, there is a product ladder in people's mind. Take, for example, language learning apps. You have Rosetta Stone, which entered the language learning space first and occupies the leader rank. And then there is Duolingo, which entered. They were not the first. But they did take a very different strategy from Rosetta Stone. They never said we are the best learning app. They always said we are the app that will keep you consistent with learning because we are fun.
Share your language skills for the real world? Try Duolingo Adventures, a new immersive way to practice common conversations like ordering at a cafe, going shopping at a local store, and even dealing with those awkward, unexpected moments. Prepare your language skills for the real world without all the pressure. Start learning today with Adventures on Duolingo.
It did not use the Rosetta Stone language of learn or master French in 60 lessons, which is very corporate tone. They used a very chaotic green owl vibe. You will get a dopamine hit every time you get a streak. They used memes and they used language that was very, very relatable. And that is how you play on a product ladder. Threads and Twitter play in the same category for social media, which is posting your thoughts in less than X number of characters. But Threads is really struggling because how Thread positioned itself, it forgot where it stood in the ladder in consumers' mind. They entered and said, we are the Twitter killer. And that was the problem because Twitter was already sitting on the top ladder. So Thread's position was supposed to be not exactly like Twitter, but slightly different and slightly something people can remember it by. So your marketing strategy actually depends on how quickly you entered people's mind and subsequently decide which rung of the ladder you sit in. The higher the rung, the better. Okay, I will take an example which is very close to me, which is Coke and Pepsi. Pepsi for years or decades kept propagating that it was the better Coke, and it never got to the leadership position. The year it actually made a difference in its market share is when it said, we are for the new generation.
This class is perhaps the greatest discovery of the 25th century. A dwelling called the split-level branch. Marvelous.
What's this, Professor?
Ah, a spherical object. They used to hurl at each other with great velocity.
Professor, what's this? What is it?
I've no idea. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
They knew that Coke was the iconic heritage cola brand that everyone attributed to family gathering. When Pepsi started positioning itself like the second rung on the ladder, saying that we are only for the new generation, the older generation can keep drinking Coke, that is when it made a change in the market shares. Marketing people often keep talking about the 3 leading brands for any category like it's a battle of equals. It almost never is because the number one brand or the brand that is on the top rung is usually 50% or higher market share. The second brand is half of the number one, and the third one is almost eaten up by the number 2 brand in the long run. You can take any category and this comes true. For example, when Jio entered, this telecom game was only between Airtel and Vodafone. And then when Jio came in, it understood that it did not fit into the first ladder. So it did not really position itself as the premium telecom provider. It said we are for everyone, and that is how it moved from the second ladder to the first ladder. And now Airtel has almost eaten up Vodafone and Idea, and we still have two major players, which is Airtel and Jio. So the next question would be, what is the maximum numbers of rung on a ladder that is possible? People often come to agree to the fact that it is seven. Because ask anyone to name all brands they know in any category. Almost every time they can't remember more than seven brand names. And this is according to a Harvard psychologist, Dr. George A. Miller, who says that a human brain cannot remember more than seven units at one particular time. And that is why number seven is a popular number when you talk about list. It could be the seven wonders of the world, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, or Shadi Ke Saath Fere. So you would ask, what about my category ladder, right? It depends upon if your category is a high interest category or a low interest category. The higher the interest in a category, the lower the number of rungs on a category. So what do I mean by high interest category? High interest category are categories where people usually invest a lot of time, effort, and energy, and also take a lot of pride when they buy those products. For example, cars, watches, cameras, life insurances. In these category, the ladder is shorter. It is usually one or two ladders or maximum three that really exist. Think of these categories and you will know for sure. But for a low interest category, there could be many ladders because people don't really invest so much time. Think about cereals, toothpaste, cold drinks. In these, the number of rungs could be more, but it should not be more than seven. So if you sit anywhere beyond seven, you are obviously forgotten. So let's take some examples to understand how certain companies understood where they sat on that ladder and made the right strategy. Adobe was the software that was used by all designers. Canva entered later and said, we are for everyone who is not a designer, because they understood their place on that ladder. Or for that matter, IIMs and Masters Union. For an MBA program in India, everyone thinks of IIM as that ultimate position or ultimate college they want to reach. If any other B school comes up and position itself as the next IIM or the better IIM, no one is going to believe that. And that is when Master Union entered the B school game or the MBA program. They said that we are not the academic B school. We are the B school where you learn by doing the job or by doing the life projects, because they understood which rung on the ladder they sat. Most brands mess up because they confuse ambition with strategy. Your ambition for sure could be to be the best in the category, but your strategy actually needs to depend on which rung in the competitive ladder your brand is sitting currently. So let's make this practical. Step one is to understand what is your category ladder. Who is the leader? Who is sitting on the second rung? And so on and so forth. Number two is understand what is the leadership strategy. And number three is identify what is your edge, because you don't need to fake leadership. You just need to flip the script. And number four is make your marketing strategy believable, because you are playing to your strengths. And your strength that you are using for your marketing strategy as your edge needs to be something that the leader cannot copy or own. Because in the real world, the brand that wins in consumers' mind is the one that is most believable. So if you vibed with this episode, hit that like button and drop your favorite underdog brand in the comment section. Subscribe for more such marketing and branding nuggets, because in the next episode, we will be discussing the law of duality, which says that in the long run, every category is just a two-player category. Till then, this is Marketed by NG. Let's make your brand glow up. Namaste.